Welcome and good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning.
And good morning to you, Sandra. You are looking mighty lovely today. Well, not as lovely as myself.
In this morning's Problem Solver segment, we are joined by Jimmy, who is a first-year law student. Very nice to have you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Now, Jimmy, you have a problem.
Please, Jimmy, explain to our viewers what has you troubled.
It's this research. I can't get it right. I could handle statutes, even secondary sources, but this is too much for me.
What are you attempting to research, Jimmy?
Administrative law. It doesn't make sense.
Well, you are in luck, because today we have an expert in legal research here to give us some pointers on administrative law, specifically at the federal level. Isn't that right, Bill?
That's a big stack of books. Looks pretty boring.
Well, without further ado, let's welcome the professor. Can you please tell us a little about administrative law?
Well, indeed I can, Sandra. Today I will discuss only federal administrative law research. Keep in mind that there are two ways in which administrative agencies make law. One is by adjudication, a quasi-judicial function of an agency. The other is by rulemaking, which will be our focus. So, agencies make rules? Yes, rules and regulations. Rulemaking is a quasi-legislative function. You see, Congress delegates power to an agency by statute, which is called an enabling statute. The agency uses that power to promulgate rules.
But where do I go to find those rules?
Rulemaking documents are available in the Federal Register and the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR for short. The Federal Register is a chronological compilation that is published every workday. The CFR is the codified version of federal regulations by subject. Thus, the CFR is where we want to begin.
Isn't it always a good idea to begin by generating some descriptive words?
Correct. Then go to the CFR index and finding AIDS volume and use your descriptive words to identify an applicable code section. Next, you will need to locate that section in the appropriate CFR volume.
But why are the CFR volumes different colors? It's terrifying.
The volume jackets are different colors because the CFR is updated on a revolving quarterly basis, not all at one time. The text of the regulations will be current as of the date printed on cover of the volume.
Now, Professor, when we are looking at the actual CFR volumes, what pointers can you give us about how it is organized?
Well, Sandra, there are 50 titles of the CFR. Each is divided into chapters, parts, and sections. Each chapter relates to a particular agency. Each part consists of regulations on a particular topic. Each section contains one regulation.
So, looking at the regulation itself, what else should we be aware of?
Be sure to read the text of the regulation, of course, but always look for the authority note located just before the text of the part. This note will list the statutory authority under which the regulation was issued.
Is that the enabling authority?
Why, yes it is. Well, bright-colored book jackets or not, this all sounds painfully dull. So that concludes the research process? Actually, no. The next step is to update the CFR. Well, of course. The most practical method of updating CFR research is to use online tools. Keep in mind that if you look up the regulation on an agency's website or through a legal research database like Lexis or Westlaw, the regulation will be more current than in print, so if I look it up online, then boom, end of research. Not exactly. Looking the regulation up online does not eliminate the need to update. It is important to check the things like proposed rules, which are only in the Federal Register. You can access the Federal Register online through Lexis or Westlaw. And then boom, done. One last thing, review the enabling statute. Update the statute using the techniques from statutory research. And then you're done.
Well, I say, that is a lot of very helpful information. Jimmy, how are you feeling about researching federal administrative law now?
It makes sense! Thank you, Professor! I am ready to start researching!
Oh boy, folks, well, it looks like this concludes our problem-solving segment.
Thank you for joining us. And remember, with any type of legal research you do, always
update, update, update!